Yun. Hi, good day po. On this video, we will be discussing data communication and networking with the subject code IT229. Okay, so recorded na lang po ito ha. So expect nyo po dito sa ating subject is more in theory tayo. So more on discussion than practical. Okay, so let's start. So I'm doing this video kasi nga may times siguro na baka hindi ko kayo meet para at least ready ako kapag pagka meron tayong session. Okay? So start tayo. Data communication, kailangan alam natin kung ano ba yung data communication. Define natin. Pagka sinabing datacom, ano bang ibig sabihin yan? And then also the components. Meron tayong sender, receiver, message, medium, and protocol. Later on, i-discuss po natin yan isa-isa. And then, yung types of data flow. We have here the simplex, half duplex, full duplex. Discuss din natin yan maya-maya lang. And also, kailangan natin i-identify yung real-life examples of, syempre, data communication. Okay. Start tayo sa questions. So may tanong na how does a message sent on Messenger reach another person? And then what happens when you send an email? So for example, nagko-compose ka ng message. So for example, gumagamit ka ng Messenger, magko-compose ka ng message and then isa-send mo yan dun sa gusto mong pag-sendan. So basically, meron tayong sender, merong message, and meron syempre yung receiver. So yung sender, ikaw yun. Okay? And then yung message, kung ano yung kinocompose mong message, kung ano yung gusto mong sabihin sa kanya, and then eventually, isa-send mo yun dun sa receiver na gusto mo. And then, nangyayari ba yun? Paano ba nangyayari yun? Magic lang ba yun? Okay? Syempre hindi. Meron tayong kagaya ng case natin ngayon, may infrastructure niya na ready kung paano nakaka-connect over the network or over the internet. So, meron niyang hindi yan magically na bigla na lang yung sinend ko message sa'yo is mag-display na lang din sa phone na hawak mo. Okay? So, meron niyang mga dinaanan. May daanan yan. Okay? So, what happens when you send an email? Meron ako ipa-play na video. Kung hindi man maganda yung sounds, pwede niyong panoorin na lang ulit dito sa Google Classroom. So, ito, yung data packets.
Have you ever wondered how data travels over the internet? Well, you might think that when you send someone an email, photo, or video, you're probably thinking that it's all sent in one piece. Well, the reality is it's not. The internet uses what's called the TCP/IP protocol, which is just a set of rules on how data is transferred over the internet. And in a TCP/IP network, the data is not sent in one piece. Instead, the data is first broken down into smaller chunks and then they are sent. And these small chunks are called data packets. And as each data packet is sent, they will independently travel across the internet through various devices and networks and arrive at the destination. So the next question is, well, why does the internet use data packets? Why not just send all the data together? Well, the reason for using data packets is to make the internet run smoother and more efficient. So for example, let's say that the internet didn't use data packets, and instead it sent all the data together in a long, uninterrupted stream of bits. And in order for the data to be read, those bits would have to be sent in the correct order. This method is what's called circuit switching. Well, the problem with this is that during the transmission of the data, no other computers will be able to use those lines until the transmission is complete. So they would have to wait their turn. And when you have billions of computers on the internet having to wait to send data, this would dramatically slow things down. But if you were to break down that data into smaller chunks or packets, with each packet having everything it needs, such as the destination address and the knowledge on how to get to their destination, each of them would independently find their way and choose the best route to the destination without relying on any other data or a fixed path. So there would be no waiting involved because the packets are fully independent. And they also don't have to arrive in the correct order because each packet has a sequence number, such as 1 of 20, 2 of 20, and so on. So when they arrive at the destination, the receiving device reads the sequence numbers and puts the data in the correct order. This is what's known as packet switching. Hey guys, if you're watching my videos, you're obviously interested in learning. That's why I want to tell you about Brilliant. Brilliant is an online, very interactive premium subscription. So if we look at the structure of a data packet, it will typically have three sections: a header, payload, and a trailer. The header contains the source and destination IP addresses. This tells the packet where it came from and where it's going. It also contains port and sequence numbers. The payload contains the actual data, and the trailer contains data that informs the destination that it has reached the end of the transmission, and it checks for any errors. So for example, let's say that we're sending this photo to someone over the internet, whether it's using email or some other application. And let's say that the photo will be broken down into 20 smaller chunks using 20 data packets, with each packet carrying one chunk each. Then each packet will be assigned an IP address that tells it where it's going. It will also contain sequence numbers, such as 1 of 20, 2 of 20, 3 of 20, and so on, along with a trailer. And then each packet will be sent over the internet, choosing various pathways, making their way to the destination. And each data packet is independent of the other, because they all have the information that they need to make their trip. And as they all arrive at the destination, the receiving computer will put the pieces back in the original form based on the sequence numbers so that the photo can be read properly. And then the data will be checked for errors. Now, keep in mind, in this demonstration, this photo is broken down using 20 data packets. And I'm doing that just to demonstrate how this works. But realistically, a typical photo will be broken down into hundreds or even thousands of data packets, depending on the size of the photo. So in a nutshell, this is how data packets work. So guys, I want to thank you for watching this video on data packets. Please subscribe, leave a comment, and I will see you in the next video.
Okay, so yun yung mas malalim na explanation, napunta na sa data packet. So yan. So just imagine, nagta-transfer siya dun sa infrastructure na kung ano yung meron tayo today. So it doesn't magically happen na bigla na lang magsisend ako ng message tapos bigla na lang mapupunta dun kung kaninong receiver ko mapunta. Okay? So meron na yang gawang network infrastructure. Okay? Next tayo, yung definition natin ng data of communication is the process of transmitting data from one device another through a communication medium using agreed rules. Okay, so doon kanina sa video presentation niya, may makita kayo. Hindi lang siya basta-basta tumalon, lumipad, kung paano napunta doon sa receiver. So, meron siyang dinadaan ng communication medium, which is yun, yung mga network infrastructure natin. So, gagamit siya ng mga network devices like switches, router, and then syempre yung mga cables, yun yung nakalagay ng infrastructure. Pwede naman kasing wireless, di ba? Okay. Next natin, yung components of data communication. So, syempre, meron tayong sender, which na siya yung magsisend ng data, and then also the receiver that receives data. And yung message natin, data being sent, and then yung transmission medium, path through which data travels, and then yung protocol, rules governing communication. Okay, simplest example naman, pagdating dito, for example, kagaya lang din yan kapag pupunta ka sa ibang lugar. For example, dito sa school, ITI, kailangan mo pumunta ng festival. Hindi ka basta-basta susulpot na lang doon o bigla ka mag-appear doon. Siyempre, may dadaanan ka. Okay? So, for example, ikaw pupunta ka doon sa lugar na yon, ano yung dala mo, yung kalye na dadaanan mo, and then, siyempre, hindi lang naman ikaw gagamit ng kalye, may makasabay ka. Yun yung protocol, yung parang traffic rules na rin, kung pwede natin ihambing doon sa example na ginagamit natin today. Okay? So yan, hindi yan basta magic na bigla na lang makaka-receive ka ng data. Okay? Next, sender and receiver natin. So in email communication, the sender is the person composing and sending the email. And then, syempre, yung receiver natin is the person who receives it. Kapag video meeting naman or Zoom meeting, the sender constantly changes whoever is speaking or sharing the video. So like this, for example, kaya nga lang recorded to. Pero kung live to, syempre constantly pwede mag-change kung sino yung sender and also the receiver. Like for now, ako yung nagsasalita, kayo yung nakikinig. Then mamaya, kapag time nyo naman, pwedeng ako naman yung makinig, ikaw naman yung magsasend sa akin ng information. Yun, parang ganon. The receiver is any participant receiving the audio and video. Yan. Kapag ano naman to, video meetings. Okay, pagka-email naman kasi, syempre, hindi naman siya live or real time. Isasend mo lang, tapos depende na kay receiver kung kailan niya gustong basahin or pwedeng makita. Makita niya yung notifications na nag-send ka na ng email or messages. Okay, so may question ulit tayo dito. Can one device be both a sender and a receiver at the same time? So, nasagot na rin natin to. Parang nasagot na natin to kanina. So, sagot natin dito, syempre yes. Kasi nga, kagaya nito, yung Zoom meeting natin, ito pala, meron pala. Ayan, sagot natin. The answer is yes, syempre. Pwede siyang maging both sender and receiver. Pero meron yan tatlong modes or category. Okay, so simplex, one direction lang only. Yung best example natin dito is yung TV broadcasting. So, explain ko lang ng konti. Sa TV broadcasting kasi, for example, nanonood ka ng TV, sila yung sender, ikaw naman yung receiver. And then, hindi ka pwedeng mag-send ng information or message sa kanila kasi nga, one direction only. So, ibig sabihin, nagpo-broadcast lang sila and then all you have to do is watch or i-receive kung ano yung binobroadcast nila, kung ano yung pinapanood, kung gusto mong panoorin nila. Okay? Kapag half duplex naman, both directions but not at the same time. Example natin yung radyo or yung walkie-talkie. Okay, dun sa mga traffic enforcers, o yan, madalas gamit nila yan, di ba? Kapag may huliin sila, abangan mo dyan. May dadaan dyan walang helmet, o parang gano'n, di ba? Hindi sila pwedeng mag-usap ng sabay kasi nga, although pwede silang maging sender and receiver na papalit-palit, pero one at a time lang. Kapag sinabi naman full duplex, both directions at the same time, example natin, video call or phone calls. Okay? So yan, pwede kang magsabay mag-send kayo sabay ng send ng information and then mag-receive din ng messages. Yan po yung ating tatlo na category. And then, sa message naman, so syempre ito yung data na sisend natin. In email, the message is text, images, and attachment. So kapag video meetings naman, the message in the real-time audio and video. So real-time ito, kagaya rin ng explanation ko kanina, kapag messages naman, pwedeng kahit hindi mo agad basahin. Okay, transmission medium naman is the path the data travels through. Examples for internet, kagaya yung kanina dun sa video presentation, pwede din namang wireless, and then yung infrastructure natin or yung tinatawag natin internet backbone. Questions, what happened if the transmission medium becomes slow or unstable? Ito na yung mga possible answers dyan. So usually kahit tayo or kayo mismo na-experience din ito. So pwedeng delayed transmission, applicable to yun sa mga yung matataas yung ping sa ML, di ba? So nag-i-increase yan ng latency kapag delayed yung transmission. Choppy audio or video during calls. Naka-experience na rin ngayon yan. Buffering in videos or online meetings. Na-experience na rin yan for sure. Packet loss causing missing or corrupted data. So ito naman kapag may dina-download kayong file. Okay, for example, naputol bigla yung internet nyo. Tapos, ayan, papacket loss na, hindi na makakompleto yung file hanggang maging corrupted data na siya. Okay? Disconnection or paid communication. And then, mga examples pa natin dito, kapag nag-video call kayo, pwedeng naglalag, video freezes, or call drops. And then, in email naman or for transfer, messages take longer to send or pay. I'm sure lahat naman tayo nito is experience na, lalong-lalo na sa Pilipinas. Okay, so protocols naman are the rules that make communications possible. Email uses SMTP to send messages, while Zoom uses real-time protocols like RTP. So yan, meron din tayong link para to explain ng mas maganda with visual presentation para mas maintindihan natin. Play ko na lang din dito. Nasa classroom rin naman siya. Protocols tayo ngayon.
Hello, everyone. In this video, we're going to talk about SMTP. SMTP stands for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. Now, I previously did a video on POP and IMAP, which those are protocols that are used for retrieving email. And now I'm doing a video on SMTP, which is a protocol that is used for sending email. SMTP is basically a set of commands that authenticates and directs the transfer of email. Now, a good way to remember what SMTP does is by looking at the acronym SMTP and associating it with sending mail to people. So as an example, when you write an email using an email client, such as Microsoft Outlook, and then when you hit send, the email travels from your computer to your email server using the SMTP protocol. Now, this server is also known as the SMTP server, and this is what's configured in your email client. So, for example, if you're using Gmail, the SMTP server address would be smtp.gmail.com. And then your SMTP server will send the message to the recipient's email server, also using SMTP. Then the email will stay on the recipient's email server until the recipient logs into their email account and downloads the email using POP or IMAP. Or they can just view the email on the server by using webmail. Now, SMTP uses the TCP protocol. And if you're not familiar with what TCP does, well, TCP is a connection-oriented protocol, and it guarantees the delivery of the email. Now, this is assuming that the destination email address is correct and still exists. But if for some reason that the email that you sent does not reach its destination, so for example, maybe you misspelled the email address or the email address no longer exists. So if this happens, you'll get that familiar mail delivery error in your mailbox informing you that the email you sent failed. And just like POP and IMAP, SMTP is also configured in your email client, such as Microsoft Outlook, Mozilla Thunderbird, or your mobile device. So for example, if you're using Gmail, you would use smtp.gmail.com in the outgoing server settings in your email client. And this is also known as the SMTP server setting. This setting tells your email client where it can send the email to. So in conclusion, basically SMTP is similar to a mailman. The mailman picks up the mail from your mailbox at your home and then finds the correct route and then delivers it to the destination mailbox.
Okay, so yun. Ganun po nangyayari kapag nagsisend tayo ng email. Next natin, kapag malabo, pwede nyo panoorin dun sa link. Hindi ko lang kasi sure baka ano yung kung okay ba yung audio. Then, questions tayo. If you send an email but the receiver never gets it, which component might be faulty? If a Zoom call has no sound, which component is likely affected? And then, if the internet goes down, which component fails first? Ito na yung mga possible answer. The email nga, the email SMTP may have failed or the internet connection medium may be down or unstable. Kapag audio data naman, part of the message is missing or not transmitted properly, yung nagcha-choppy, even though the connection may still be active. Pag transmission medium naman, ang problema is the path that carries the data. If the internet goes down, data cannot travel between sender and receiver. Then lastly, yung importance natin ng data communication. So napaka-importante nito kasi It enables sharing of information. Ngayon, pwede na tayo mag-search kung ano man yung gusto nating malaman using the internet. Punta ka lang ng Google. Hindi katulad dati na library pa yung ginagamit nila. And then it also support internet services like kagaya nga yan, email, web, or video calls. And then foundation of computer networking. So just imagine if wala tayong technology na kagaya ngayon, masyadong matagal yung ways of communication natin. Di katulad today, kagaya niyan, pwede na tayo mag-online meetings, makapag-send tayo ng messages or information, whatever we want or whenever we want, paano? So, napakadali na lang. Okay? So, yun po yung kahalagahan ng ating data communication. So, that's it for this video. Okay, so, after this video, meron na naka-reading quiz dun sa Google Classroom. Hindi ko pa yata siya na-upload. Wala pa nga. Ilalagay ko na lang din dun mamaya. So, after nyo mapanood to, take nyo lang yung quiz, tapos screenshot kagaya ng dati, and then upload nyo dun sa Google Drive folders ninyo. Check natin lang. Yan, upload nyo lang dito yung mga dati nyo na rin ginawa. Okay, so napakita ko naman niya sa inyo to last time. Okay, so that's it. Hanggang dito na lang. Bye. Ano man?